MD of Somany Ceramics, now joining us. Abhishek, good morning. So, give us some numbers. We all, are talking about how GST will benefit the organized players. I'm sure you would have done some number crunching. Uh, in terms of the overall benefit, what kind of benefits do you see the organized players having, and your company in particular?
Yeah, so I think I heard you earlier. I don't think there will be a price benefit because gas, which is a huge raw material for us, has not been provided for GST. Therefore, we do not get input credit on that, and that would be an increase in very insignificant but a small increase in prices as far as tiles are concerned, because Gujarat we were paying earlier 5% and now we would be paying a larger percentage on gas, and we don't get an input credit on that. But nevertheless, there are other huge advantages of GST in the long term, which is a big move from the small scale to the organized sector, and that's again more and more people coming in the tax net, and also on logistics fronts where all the cross-border transfers will become much easier.
Abhishek, so you did volumes of around 7%, I believe, last year, FY17. Give us some sense, as this move to organize starts happening, by how much can that volume number go up by this year?
So first of all, I would like to highlight this particular quarter, which is obviously under stress with the destocking in June of all our retailers. And specifically for Somany, we've also had a large SAP implementation, a SAP implementation in April, which also we took a hit on our revenues because there was a blackout period from the transition of the older system to SAP. So this quarter set aside, I think going forward the volumes would increase. It's unclear as to what it would be this year, but I'm very confident that going forward we would be at least in the double-digit numbers and slowly edging towards the higher double-digit numbers.
So Abhishek, with no input tax benefits on gas, etc., what would be the change in pricing for the company?
Like I said, it's not going to be very significant. It's a very insignificant small increase as far as the prices are concerned for tiles. But we do believe that there is enough news that gas would be included within GST, and we would be able to get input credit on that. When that happens, we would be able to pass on the benefit, and that would be approximately 2 to 3% at that time. This is only in the advent of the gas coming in the input credit.
Okay. Abhishek, the other issue is on the anti-dumping duty on tiles from China. How big was Chinese product a menace for you? And with these duties, do you think that's out of the way?
Yes, so the duties, Chinese first of all was a huge menace, specifically because they were dumping. Apple to apple, their costs are not lower than ours, but the problem is that they dump their material into India at extremely low prices. Currently with the GST hanging on the 1st of July, not much material came in, but now again material would come in because the government, funnily enough, has exempted about 3 to 4 players from China, large players from China, and they would be able to import. So the threat would be limited as only 2 to 3 players, or I think 4 players have been exempted from China, but it's not a complete anti-dumping across the board for Chinese factories. We are representing the government to make sure that even these 3-4 companies also do not get the exemption and there's an anti-dumping duty levied on them.
Okay, Abhishek, let's also talk about some of the expansion plans. I believe you were expanding your sanitary ware capacity. So has that been completed? What sort of an impact or a favorable sort of outlook can we expect then on revenue with this expansion being complete?
Right. So we had 2 expansions which got completed in April and May. The sanitary ware expansion fired at the end of April, this quarter. We trebled our capacity. We're at 1.2 million pieces per annum. And that has come almost to 75% capacity utilization. In this quarter, it would come to 100% capacity utilization. So we do hope that the sanitary ware growth this year would be between 30 and 40%. On the other hand, we also expanded our value-added vitrified tile capacity. So we went from 8,000 square meters to 14,000 square meters per day in that particular plant in Gujarat. And we do have another expansion which is taking place, which will fire around Diwali. And this is a high value-added wall tile plant which is coming up as a brownfield in our Haryana plant. And that would get fired end October, early November.
Okay, Abhishek, back to GST topic then. What is the anecdotal evidence on the ground with respect to the unorganized players? Have you already seen early signs of them shutting shop or increasing prices in order, so that they're in compliance with GST? Has the market pie reduced already? Tell us what has already happened at the unorganized level.
So at the unorganized level, I think the government will have to be a little more serious about the tax evasion there, because they are now talking of under-invoicing the product and sending it into the market and trying to evade whatever GST has been levied on them, because we were hoping that the GST would come for our product at 18%. That would have made a large difference, but at 28%, it's still incentive enough for them to evade taxes by under-invoicing these products. So therefore, it's too early to say as to what will happen, and water will find its level. But I think the government will have to have a little more seriousness to check their under-evasion and various other practices which they will muddle into to try and save the 28%.
Okay, thank you very much, Abhishek, for joining in. That's the word from Somany Ceramics. In fact,